Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. And in this video, we're going to be doing something completely different. We're going to be trying a questions and answer segment. So thanks for watching. So just recently, I posted on my Instagram that I was looking for questions to be answering on my channel. And quite a few of you responded. So thank you again for all those who sent in questions. It definitely gives us something to talk about here on the channel. So question number one is brought in from Walter GC. Walter asked, what is the most used piece of equipment on your rig? And easily I can answer that with camp lights. And I'm not talking about the auxiliary lights on top or the fog lights or anything like that. I'm talking about the lights that I pack in the truck at all times, that I break out whenever we're on the trail at night or if we're at a campsite or something like that. The reason being is that they're so convenient to just pack with you, that we can be at a friend's house late at night having a few beers, and it's like, hey, let's work on this real quick. Break out some lights. We got lights to work on the truck. I always try to make sure the lights are 100% charged every time. And if not, I do have some lights that are solar powered in the back. So they're just hanging out back there and they're always charging wherever we're driving. So number one, I would say camp lights. Question number two is from Beto_RS89. Beto's question is, what does it take to get started in the world of off-roading? And honestly, you don't need much. You would think that with all the overlanding stuff, all the off-roading stuff that you see online, that you need all this crazy equipment. But in reality, what you really need is a really good truck, a really good platform, be it four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and some really good tires. That's about it. I think you can get by with a really good platform to begin with. You don't need a Land Cruiser, but I highly suggest a Land Cruiser. And some really good tires. And you can get out there. Depending on whatever you're looking to do, you'll still be able to get out there if you have a really good platform. The third question that we have is brought in from Cruising to Camp. Lee, also known as Solve Function or Cruising to Camp on Instagram. He's asking, if the Land Cruiser were a pistol, what would it be? If the Land Cruiser was a pistol, it's a toss-up, honestly. It could either be a Glock because of the reliability and the amount of aftermarket support that it has. You know, it's if you want to build it as a rock crawler, everything's available to build it as a rock crawler. Same thing if you want to build a Glock into like a race gun, you want to compete, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there for Glock. For like some tactical build on a Glock, you can do that. You want to throw it into one of those like Roni short barrel rifle kits that you just drop the Glock into, you can do that. And all those different things that you can do with a Glock, you can do with an 80. You can do with a Land Cruiser, I should say. Then again, as a pistol, the Land Cruiser, or at least the 80 series, can also be the 1911, solely because it's a tried and true platform. It just runs off of basic mechanics, and it just goes, and it does everything it needs to do. Think about it, the 1911 won 2 world wars. I mean, back to back, it's a tried and true platform, just like the Land Cruiser 80 series. But if you want to talk specifically about the 80 series, it's probably a 1911. Chino_Choppin asked, was the 80 your first Toyota, and what made you buy an 80 series? This is a really great question. I was very excited to answer this because I love Toyotas. So the Land Cruiser, the 80 series, is not the first Toyota that I owned. The first Toyota that I owned personally was a 1982 Toyota Corolla wagon, TE72 wagon to be specific. Growing up, the entire time we always had Toyotas. So it's definitely not my first experience. It's not my first go at a Toyota. And the second part of the question, what made me want the 80 series? Well, knowing the history of Toyotas as I grew up, I would see the 80 series with, like, you know, Michael Jordan driving into practice, dipping in his 80 series. Biggie always rapping about 80 series Land Cruisers and stuff. And then as I got older, you would see on the news like the UN rolling around in the Middle East in 80 series Land Cruisers. And I was just like, dude, those are so nice. They're so rugged. They can do everything that the UN needs them to do. And I knew I wanted a white one. So I guess I'll say that ever since I was a kid, I've always loved Toyotas. And once I knew that I wanted a 4x4, I already knew the history of Land Cruiser. So it was like, that's the one I needed. The next question is brought in from IGX Trek. He's asking, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel, and how has your content evolved since then? What inspired me to start my YouTube channel was just uploading videos on how to do certain things on the 80 series, specifically the FJ80. You know, the 91, 92 Land Cruisers with their different engine and stuff. There's not much out there dedicated to the FJ80. So I started uploading videos like how to change your alternator, how to change your water pump, how to change your charcoal canister. And from there it started. People started watching, people started asking me questions and talking to me on YouTube. So I just became a lot more active. Then I started uploading videos of our trips and videos of different builds. And then I started realizing like, hey, I might have an audience here, and let me start continuing to go for it. My content started evolving because I started realizing that the videos that I was uploading weren't just to post stuff online, it wasn't just to upload content, but it was definitely to share my knowledge. Be it my knowledge is not that great, I wanted to share what I had to bring. So with different how-tos or different trips or different aspects of the build, I started realizing that people wanted to see that. So it's like I continued to upload it, and we are where we are now. I would definitely say that I have a strong following on YouTube. I definitely have a lot of people who support me in this, and I'm completely grateful for it. So all in all, my content has evolved to cater to the people who've supported me along the way. And so last question, guys. Jamis Snow, is it pronounced Jamis? Jamis Snow is asking, what's the miles per gallon? And quite honestly, I have to answer your question with another question. What is miles per gallon? I think as an 80 series owner specifically, as a Land Cruiser owner in general, you kind of throw miles per gallon out the window. It's something that you don't think about anymore, because the Land Cruiser, the 80 series, it's like, it can do all this, all that off-road. It can get you where you need to go, to the point where you're kind of like, every benefit of the truck outweighs the poor gas mileage. And it's a running joke now, I would say, in the 80 series community, in the Land Cruiser community. It's a running joke to ask them, how's your gas mileage? Because everyone's going to tell you, like, what? It's miles per gallon calculated now. 10 miles per gallon? Does that sound right? There you go. It's a sacrifice that you make to drive a Land Cruiser. So that's the end of the video, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you found it entertaining, let me know. Leave it down in the comments down below. I really appreciate everyone who sent in questions, because this was a way for me to reach out to my supporters and reach out to my community and find out what, if we could talk about anything. So, everyone out there who's been watching and following me on Instagram and subscribing to me on YouTube, I've really appreciated it. You guys have helped me push my channel to where I thought I'd never be. So let's do another one of these videos. I'll post again on Instagram. Stay tuned and see if there are other questions we can answer out there, because I think there are definitely a lot more questions we could have been answering in this video, but a lot of them weren't under YouTube guidelines. So we'd probably have to talk about those in private. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Bye. All these questions. Inappropriate. No one wants to send in any serious questions. Come on, guys.